So hi guys, today I'm just gonna talk about what I learned today. Um, so there's kind of really not really learn because when we're trying to think about learning, we tend to think about the knowledge or the concept of it. But this is kind of really based on the experience. Um, I'm keeps on implementing DB indexing algorithm. So w- using the JS, using TypeScript. Um, and actually, I almost implemented even insertion part and the search operation. Search operation is working pretty fine, but the problem is that um, it was not think it was not about like code or the implementation of it. The most um, hard part right while writing this kind of DB indexing algorithm is the immutability. Immutability is kind of really important concept because if you look at the high level language, there's no garbage collector. So the JavaScript, the object is actually is referencing other object dynamically. So this references has to be separated if I create new object. If is still if this referencing is still valid, there's gonna be something wrong with your. There's gonna be like potential bug of your code because you're basically stop. You're not stopping the reference of your bunch of object. So that's kind of the problem I also faced because the indexing, the deletion delete operation was pretty fine, but there's something wrong with this code because I basically extract the key in the target page, and in the page and the deleted result could be um and so the original page has to be has to be not changed, and the new page has to be changed, but somehow um, since the out this logic is still working and the logic is pretty fine, but the output data, the data structure isn't quite as I anticipated because the it was referencing original B3 BTR BT data structure. So I don't know how to stop this, and I don't know how to debug I know how to debug it, but it takes so much time of it. And I think that's why I chose to refactor this insertion operation one more because there basically I use recursion to implement insertion, and I don't need it. I don't need it anymore. And also before the page logic was like this. So this is the before the logic before the page. Um, if we can look at here, if you look at here, there's child map and child. We're just gonna create the new object and based on that. However, these children can have more children, and the children can have the children of it. So this is actually making a new object. However, the is only the slight part of these children. So I refactored into new object that new logic that it creates completely new object of the this B3 B B3 implementation of it. And based on that, I had to refactor for of this insertion part because my original insertion operation part was bunch of recursions. Yeah, it just recursions, and yeah, and this recursion made my code into um more fall into a complexity because it was really kind of hard to debug. Even the Facebook React team, um they use the do while approach. If you look at their React Fiber, they utilize do while rather than just a bunch of recursion, because um due to keep immutability, um using recursion is kind of nonsense. And even though you can do it, but it's really hard to debug is there something wrong with it. And also there's gonna a bunch of core stuff you cannot, it's hard to there's gonna be potential issue of these um the the stack overflows. And also, yeah, do wire is pretty simple, and you can just make it into this kind of syntax of it. Was that's kind of really thing I learned. And I think next, if I after refactor hold this kind of stuff, and after implementing minimal or B3 deletion part, I'm gonna read um pap- I'm gonna read books about test code, because I feel like I have to read it, and I have to learn it, and I have to how to structure this test code, how to structure this kind of algorithm based on the test code, because some kind of function is really huge that it can widely use in other logic. So I think test code would be nice to understand the test code and how to maintain a good quality of the test code could maintain this code into furthermore in the better features. So I think this is it. Have a nice day next time. Bye bye.